do you say there, you bunch of holly jolly Christmas carolers? Alrighty, so as I said in the last video, I love this time of year. I love Christmas music, I love the decorations, and, of course, I love Christmas movies. And every year, we all put on the classics that define the season. But what if I told you there were a few you may be missing out on? Some underrated gems that may be tucked a little further underneath the tree. I had just a few lesser known Christmas movies in mind, and I figured I'd share them on the channel to spread some holiday cheer. Now, to be fair, I've got to admit that I myself need to catch up on some underrated movies. So forgive me if I don't talk about any in particular that you love. I was also thinking about doing a whole list, but if I'm honest, it seemed a pretty daunting task in the midst of how busy December can be. And so, I've kept it to a simple lineup of 4 that I really think you'd be better off for checking out. 4 movies that, in one way or another, really capture the magic and wonder of Christmas. I won't be ranking them, but I will be saving the one I recommend the most until the very end. And before we get started, I wanted to give an honorable mention to 2 bonus picks. First, I'll say that Die Hard 2 may not be nearly as good as the original, and it does recycle the plot pretty heavily, mostly just moving the setting from an office building to an airport. But it gives us some really cool visuals and locations for fight scenes, and the returning cast members are still as charming as ever. My other bonus pick is Klaus from 2019. It's really funny and heartwarming with some great voice talent attached, but I think it's gotten a little too popular to make the cut here. Definitely give it a watch if you haven't already. And with that, let's jump into these 4. The first movie I want to pitch is The Shop Around the Corner.
Mr. Colic, are you still here? Are you deliberately trying to spoil my evening? Why do you want to do me harm? Why do you hate me so?
I don't hate you.
I mentioned this one first because it is considered a beloved classic by many, but it does get pretty overshadowed by the other James Stewart Christmas classic. You know, the greatest thing humanity has ever produced. Well, anyway, The Shop Around the Corner is a cute little romantic comedy that centers around 2 employees at a gift store that can't stand each other in person, but, unbeknownst to them, are hitting it off as pen pals. One element I really like that sets this one apart from It's a Wonderful Life is that the James Stewart character is actually kind of a heel.
Did you tell that to Mr. Modelcheck?
Yes, I did.
And what did he say?
He said tell her not to come in that blouse anymore.
Tell him I won't.
I will.
That said, we do get to see him warm up throughout, and it's nice that it's not just another George Bailey. Margaret Sullivan is also great as the female lead, and the 2 are surrounded by a quirky cast of characters. It was remade as You've Got Mail with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, but I haven't gotten around to that one yet. Anyway, this movie really captures the reconciliation of the holidays, with the final reveal that these 2 have been pining for each other from afar. Ultimately, it gives you some more Jimmy Stewart goodness for December, and my wife and I were really happy to finally watch it this year. Next up, I've got Scrooge from 1970.
Of course I can sit down.
Do so, then.
Now, yes, there are countless adaptations of Dickens' A Christmas Carol, and this one may not be the best, but it is a musical, and I'm therefore obligated to sing its praises.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah, not only is this not the most popular version of the story, but we know for a fact it's not the most popular musical of it.
It's true wherever you find love, it feels like Christmas.
Yes, everyone loves the Muppets. But let's maybe shine the light somewhere else this year. Albert Finney stars as Ebenezer Scrooge, and I swear to you, I just learned when I was writing this script that he was 34 years old here. This is a 34-year-old man. Am I insane, or is this really good old man makeup? We've also got Alec Guinness, that's right, Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, as Jacob Marley. But I'll tell you what, the actor that steals the show for me is Anton Rogers as Tom Jenkins, a character made up for this particular telling for one song and one song alone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me.
That song will never leave you once it's burned into your brain. But there are plenty of other catchy tunes as well.
I hate people. I hate people.
I like life. Life likes me. Life and I fairly fully agree.
Finally, let me ask you this. How many adaptations of A Christmas Carol have you seen where the ghost of Christmas yet to come straight up turns into the Grim Reaper and sends Scrooge to hell before his final redemption? That's right, only this one. So yeah, the whole thing may be big and melodramatic, but it's a fun time and I really dig it. Check it out. Alright, so these last 2 I'm especially excited about, and I'm proud to say that I was introduced to this next one by my wonderful wife. Arthur Christmas is an animated feature that seemed to really fly under the radar when it first came out.
Sing Silent Night backwards.
Oh, no, that.
Alice again, you lot again, Lassie Mlack, Lassie's the gerb.
It tells the story of Santa Claus's son Arthur, the klutz that no one expects much from, who journeys out to get one last present to a child that was missed by his older brother's new technologically driven delivery system. And let me just say, I absolutely adore this character. He's a goof, he's awkward, and as I said before, no one expects much from him. But he has such a love and admiration for what his father and his bloodline represent that he can't help himself. Whatever obstacle stands in his way, he's gonna keep going to make sure Christmas morning is magical for that one solitary child. Now, this may be a wild comparison, but hear me out. He almost reminds me of Don Quixote. Take the lyrics from The Impossible Dream from Man of La Mancha. To dream the impossible dream. To fight the unbeatable foe. And later on in the lyrics, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. And that's the very spirit of Arthur's journey here.
The soldiers have shot the sleigh! Look, sir! It's Arthur! He's still going!
On top of all that, there's great comedy.
A child's been missed!
Do you want to wake up the whole North Pole?
Good idea! A child's been missed!
Great Christmassy visuals. And some crazy voice talent. It just has everything that a children's Christmas classic needs. My wife told me that her mom found the DVD in the bargain bin at a store, and I think it deserves so much more than that. Give it a watch, I can't recommend it enough. And finally, my last big recommendation is Joo Noel from 2005.
Guten Abend, Engländer! Good evening, Germans, but we're not English, we're Scottish!
Okay, time for a quick history lesson. If you didn't know, in 1914 there was an unofficial Christmas ceasefire among Scottish, French, and German troops in World War I. And I emphasize the word unofficial. None of the higher-ups on any side approved this or were even consulted. It was just the troops deciding that for this period, from December 24th to the 26th, they would lay down their weapons and show some humanity to one another. And this movie right here depicts that event with great sincerity and class. Now I'll say up front, I know historical wartime dramas aren't for everyone. And on top of that, soldiers from each side are speaking in their own native languages, so you'll have to read a good bit of subtitles. But if you want a story that captures the absolute best humanity has to offer, manifesting at the most appropriate time of year, look no further. I especially love the scene when the German soldier Sprink is singing Silent Night and the Scottish troops join him musically on the bagpipes. From there, they all start playing O Come All Ye Faithful, but instead of singing in his own language, the German sings the Latin Adeste Fideles. Alright, another history lesson. The reason this is such a beautifully unifying moment is because at this point in history, Latin is a language all of these men would have had to learn. After that, they hold a mass together, they share family photos, and they play a good game of soccer. Or, as they would call it, football.
You were saying football things in a football voice. How do you know about football things?
All in all, this story is such a beautiful testament to what Christmas does to us. To close out, I'll say that it reminds me of this scene from the Alastair Sim version of A Christmas Carol, my own personal favorite.
I think I know who sent it. Who? Mr. Scrooge.
What would make Mr. Scrooge take such leave of his senses suddenly?
Christmas?
And that is exactly this moment here. What would make the troops take such leave of their senses? The answer is Christmas. But, as Scrooge says in the very same movie,
I haven't taken leave of my senses, Bob. I've come to them.
And you know what? I think that's ultimately the best message to finish off on. May we all come to our senses this holiday season and carry the joy, hope, and kindness of Christmas with us the whole year long. And with that, I hope I gave you some good movies to check out this year. Or maybe next year, given that we're so close to Christmas Day already. So tell me, what are some underrated Christmas movies that you think more people should watch this time of year? Share your favorites in the comments. And so,
As Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone.
I've been Kenny Steps. Take it easy, and keep stepping into the movies.